Right, let's move straight on to Saturday night. So that's the heats covered for Friday night. So on Saturday night, we've got Fiora Max in 1, Black Eyed Molly in 2, Keyfield Finn in 3, Ballydoyle Razor in 4, Savannah Domino in 5, and in 6, Perry's Blue Eyed Boy. Fitzy, I'll come to you first. What are your thoughts?
I imagine the syndicate that on Ballydoyle Razor will be extremely disappointed if he doesn't win this heat now. It's one of the weaker heats. I know there's no weak heat in the Derby. There's fast dogs littered throughout. But this is a very, very talented very, very talented dog. He's obviously gone 2 in January. He's not the youngest dog about, but he's certainly not old. It's effectively just the start of his second season now. Trialled very well the last 8. 4 is his perfect box. 3's heading left and has early pace. 5 will edge in a bit, but I thought Ballydoyle Razor should put him. 6 he's just not a toaster dog for me. He's a real Romford dog, and I don't think he runs the place great. He just runs a bit too wide. Black Eyed Molly's been disappointing. I know she burst onto the scene, and I think Lofty of Star Sports said that he laid her for the Derby on in one of his videos. You know, you could see why at the time, but her form's just fallen away. I just can't have the top's just an eye candy dog. There's big trials, and you know his recent trials aren't even Derby class. So if he's not doing big trials, he wasn't winning races when he was trialing the best of any Paul Young dog. When he's getting beat 2.5, 5.5 lengths, stick a line through him for all I can see. Yeah. I've not actually seen prices for this race, but I imagine Ballydoyle Razor would be about an 8 to 11 shot, and he probably justifies it as well. He's just a class or two above these. Sensible start. That'll be enough.
There's 5 to 4 Razor about, you know.
Well,
not for long now.
I bet send the men around
before this release. Dylan's going to have a few bets to see.
Bomber, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, look, to be honest with you, same as Dylan. I'll be accused of copying him again now because he's gone first. But look, Ballydoyle Razor, he was second to Juvenile. He's just got so much more class for me than the other dogs. I always like Black Eyed Molly, but for me, I think she's a bitch that you'd back in the one-off opens, and I never really saw her as like, you know, in the Derby and a Derby class. But the one thing I will say, I have been disappointed with Ballydoyle Razor's trials, to be fair. His last couple of runs, like 16, 18s in Sheffield. Yeah, they're good runs, but for, you know, in terms of, I expect him to do a lot better. Now, I know he's a Fiora Muskie and they're, you know, notorious strong runners, but, you know, I just didn't think it was the best trial. And he tried the last day in a trial session, and, you know, there was plenty of dogs, or a couple of Irish dogs that were a long way ahead of him. So I just don't know if he's at his prime at the moment, but I think he can get away with it in this heat, to be honest with you. If he was in with a couple of other dogs, you know, maybe better types, I'd probably take him on. But I just think this race is made up from. I think the only one that can really take him on is the Black Eyed Bitch. Look, the bottom can run. I've watched him run for a couple of nights. The last 2 nights I thought he's ran bad now, to be fair. But he does have pace. But look, I just think by the Razors, Dylan said, if I owned them, I think this is the one now. Chance to win a Derby heat, and you go all in, and that 5 to 4. If you take as much as that as you can. So, yeah, look, I'll go for Ballydoyle Razor in this heat.
Dog Guesser, what do you think?
I know Rich, the owner of Ballydoyle Razor, and he said he's been very, very short of work. It's been quite a rough rush prep. He was down for a trial at Toaster when the session got cancelled, and I think they were a bit concerned when that got cancelled, and they rebooked him in for the Thursday. I'd be willing to take a chance here with Savannah Domino, which is the old Burton Lodge something, I think it is. They changed the name on it. That's the one, Lodge Town Boy. Yeah, that's the one. Done 28.60 odd at Shelburne, young enough. Gary Griffiths, one thing I will say about him, he grades dogs very, very well. Like, there's probably quite a bit more to come from this. Like, he was notorious for grading dogs on Bellevue. So I think there's probably a bit more in this, to be honest. The 2 we laid for the Derby at 200s and 150. I thought I must have missed something because I couldn't see why it was being bet. Obviously, I didn't, because it's like you say, there's nothing there still now to suggest that it's going to go deep in a Derby. The free's sort of probably a 600-yard A1 dog at Sheffield. You know, that's that. I can't really have the 6, and I'm not a massive fan of the 1 either. So I was looking for ways to get Ballydoyle Razor beat. I couldn't really find many, and the only one I could come up with is sort of a bit of improvement from Savannah Domino for the Booby Clan. So I just think he might need the run here, Razor. So I'd probably take him on with Savannah Domino, but he looks the most likely winner, does Razor.
Cheers, Doug Gesser. Right, let's move on to the next heat. We've got Brynhall Respect in 1, Duke de Janeiro in 2, Diamond Lisa for Rayborn in 3, Wright Joe in 4, Lenson Bocco in 5, and in 6, Chasing Turkey. Fitzy, what do you fancy?
I thought Lenson Bocco would win. Now, it's not my MO. I certainly won't be backing a dog that hasn't ran for 7 months. But this is just a poor enough race for his standards. You're talking about a Derby winner. You're talking about a dog that won a Night of Stars in his last race. Blew the lights out in his last trial. Now, he's obviously going to be a bit short price, short of work, whatever you want to paint it as. But if this dog is going to come back and win a Derby at just under 4-year-old, he had a bit of a messy year last year. It all came right in the Night of Stars. That was a scintillating run. If he is going to win this Derby or go deep in this Derby, he simply has to win this race. 6 won't bother him to the corner. I don't know where he was producing them starts in Central Park was where he was producing them from, Chasing Turkey. Now the track was running massive wide both nights. He did the good splits. And he hasn't looked all at home at Toaster. He was beat very comfortably by Drum Crow Brent, who would be a fairly big price beat Lenson Bocco. And Diamond Lisa made the final of the Maiden Derby, but he never really threatened. Like, he's doing 29.90s, 29.80s. He's a fast dog and a solo, Diamond Lisa. I'd say they might eye up with 5.75 Romford from one night. Could do a big run, but in a good class 500-meter race, he just gets a little bit tapped for toe and in the key aspects. Duke for Janeiro looked like he absolutely hated Toaster in his 2 500-meter races, standing up on the bends. He's normally a fluent bend runner. So I imagine Gleason's probably turned him inside out in the last 3 weeks. Look, if he was back right and he trapped like he can, he'd obviously have a great chance. But he's not in the same league as Lenson Bocco. Like, he was in that Maiden Derby for a reason. He's never done it in AAO grade in Ireland. You're talking, we're talking about a Derby winner here. I just never got a chance to look at Saturday night prices, but I imagine he's probably a 4 to 7, 1 to 2 shot. You're not going to see much business at that, but he does justify to be that sort of price. So I hope he wins. That's all I can say about the race, really. I'd love to see him back to his best.
Bomber, what's your thoughts?
Yeah, look, I agree with Dylan a lot what you said there. To be fair, look, Lenson Bocco, he wasn't just a Derby winner. He was a great Derby winner when he was a young dog. And he only just turned 2-year-old. He just got the job done every night. He was impressive. He'd done fast clocks. He was just up there. Like, people always forget as well. Like, I had him down as a dog where he'd want to lead, but he actually won his Derby from coming off the pace. He picked up Run Happy in the closing yards, and he held off Ball Sports King. Look, he's a class animal. He had a disappointing start to 2020, and then his trials weren't great, and then lockdown happened. He came back, and he did a serious run the first round of the Champion Stakes. We all thought Bocco's back, and from then on, he disappointed massively. They had a bit of messing with seeding for me. They started putting him rails. I'd have always kept him as a middle or wide seed, to be honest with you. That's where he won his derbies from. He always ran well from there. Didn't run Nottingham. They tried to put him as rail seed. He was running off bends for me. It looked like it was the end for Lenson Bocco, and as Dylan says, he came back and he trialled the same trial session as New and Taylor, and they clocked the third bend, and we all know how good New and Taylor was. The Derby winner the year after. So look, he came out and he won the 5.75, massively impressive. They retired him and then they brought him back, and we were all shocked to see him on the card, and he just did an unbelievable trial for a dog that hadn't ran 7 months. So he had obviously been well prepared. As I agree with him, I'd love to see Lenson Bocco run well, but I just couldn't back him for a dog that has been 7 months. I do like the Diamond Lisa dog as well. I thought he was quite impressive at the last race and trial quite well as well. But the same with the Brian Hill dog, Griffith's dog. He's ran well in the maiden derby. He's come serious solo trials in his card. But just for me, I just can't take Lenzo Bocco on, and I can't back him. It's just one for watching for me. I'd stay away from it, to be honest with you. But I just love to see Lenzo Bocco come back because he's just a fantastic dog to watch when he's right. And we'd all love to see 2019 Derby winner, funny enough to say, come back and fly around the track. So, look, I'll go for that. I'll just swerve this race, especially. I can't even go for a selection. I just love to see Lenzo Bocco go well. And I'll sit on the fence for this one.
Dog guesser, what do you fancy?
Yeah, you've got to be with Bocco, haven't you? Look, the one definitely doesn't want the rails. The three does. I think the insides are a bit of a mess. Bocco's going to lead out wide, and he should win. You know, if he's anything like his old self, the trial suggests he is. He might need to run a little bit. I wouldn't want to bet him necessarily at a really short price, but you know, there's I think there's some even money about, so you know that would be, you know, quite a bit of me. I'd like that. I'd take a chance with him at evens. But I mean, the going as well for the red. The last trial, give it -10. I think he was more on the fast side than the slow on the slow side. The going along since Toast have been a bit poor, to be honest. But yeah, I'd be with Bocco. I think he's the class of the race, and it's a massive class drop for him. This from his last race at the Night of Stars, and even going back, you know, the dog's won a derby, like you say, and he's got to be better than these, really.
So dog guesser is with Bocco. Right, let's move on to the next heat. We've got Bubbly Bollinger in 1, Forest Gold in 2, Jumeirah Liberty in 3, iCal's First in 4, Rioja Smasher in 5, and in 6, Lightfoot Brogan. Fitzy, what do you fancy?
I don't think this is the best heat, and certainly not a heat I'll be striking a bet up in. If I have to put one forward, I suppose I think Rioja Smasher has finally got his draw. He ran from Shelburne, trap 2 the last night, and he wants trap 7. Like, he's a middle seed. I don't get it. He should be a wide seed. 5 will suit him. 4 will edge in a bit. 3 should be a middle seed. 3 will move off from 3. 2 is a dog that has a big reputation, always well found in the market. I don't really understand it. I think a lot of it bore from being one of the first good crop at the road as Wildcats. And obviously, Bubbly Bollinger is a very fast dog on his day. I thought he ran desperate on the Impending Track Championship night at Hove. He hasn't set the track alight at Monmore's last 2 starts. His latest trials below his best. So if Rioja Smasher starts, he will lead the outside pair, and that'll be enough. He's a very strong dog. He made the final at Cesaro, which probably wants 550, 575, 29.55 on his 65 in his trial. He's liable to do 29.50 odd. He's not one of Buckley's leading lights. He's far from it, but he is a homebred. I'm sure they'll be hoping he can go a few rounds, and if he can pick up a heat, all the better. Wouldn't be surprised if there's a flood of money from on the night. There's usually one from that camp every year they try and have a good cut at, and he's certainly been gifted a heat that he can win.
Bomber, what's your thoughts?
Yeah, look, I assume this is going to be heat. Dylan staying in the bar once again. Look, it's Rioja Smasher. I can't really work him out, to be honest with you. I've seen him run good a few times down to Sarich and a Limerick and that. And look, in Shelburne Park, he could write off his last race. He was in trap 2, and it was a race where there was, I think it was 3 middles or 2 middles and 3 wides. It was just a messy race. Dylan had a run in the race, Mile to Shamrock. But look, he's an exceptionally fast dog in a solo, but I just can't really work him out. Now, to be fair, I'm trying to judge him again. The dogs in Cesaro, Ripley, Lad, Amazing Alice, Borough Norris, like, they're just top graded dogs. And to be fair, they should be different grade. They would be different grade to what he's running with in this race. I agree with Dylan. I think this is the dog that could be punted. This could be the dog now that, he could open up maybe a biggish price and he could have a few quid in them. The tops for me, I thought was most likely going to be favourite, but it just depends on how they price a couple of the Irish dogs in the early rounds. Look, Rio Smasher, he's a very fast dog. He's a comrade to Sing Along Sally. He's a half comrade to Glengar Bell. Look, he's a machine when he's let loose. My one thing about him is his biggest asset is definitely on the back straight, and like he was massive from 2 to 3, and then he couldn't run the Mullingar bend, and then he wasn't really the strongest to stay over 600. So I think he's yet to find the track that he could put everything together. Maybe Toaster will be that track. I don't know, but if he's a decent price, I'll probably have a few quid in him. But at the same time, I've seen him run a couple of races where I thought he'd win and he didn't. So he's not a dog I would just fully go, all in on. But look, I'll go for him in this heat anyway. But yeah, I'll go for Riga Smash this heat anyway.
Dog Guesser, what do you think?
I thought this was a race that I'd want to be betting the 2. The red could end up being the favourite. If the Irish get stuck into the 5, the 5 could well be short enough. It could make the price for the 2. It's got a lovely draw. He's going to lead the 1 on the fence. I'm not certain he stays it quite strong enough, but I'd be willing to take a chance, if he's sort of 5.5, sort of 5 in the market. The 5 dog doesn't strike me as being a real toaster dog. Like I say, he's got very good back straight pace, and there's not really much of a back straight at Toaster. So yeah, I'd be with the 2. I think anything sort of 4 to 1 plus, I'd want to be betting the 2.
So Dog Guessers with trap 2. Let's move on to the next heat. We've got Jaguar Macy in 1, Geary Steve in 2, Fatboy Storm in 4, Cold as Ice in 4, Zach's Tornado in 5, and in 6, Badminton Connor. Fitzy, what do you fancy?
Again, this is a hit I'm not a fan of. But if Jaguar Macy at all traps, it's just race over. I don't think she runs Toaster particularly well. I don't think she wants trap 1. She seems to miss the first bend, which throws her back end out, and she's bang on the fence on the corner. But she has a 6 bend dog in 2. The bitch in 3, Execution Spirit. I haven't seen her last race. Not got that far down the card, but I'd love to know how she got picked up over 500 meters myself, and the ladder buy dogs that were trying to buy her at one stage for 750s. So that's just a bit bizarre. An A3, 30.05. I mean, she's getting picked up in 30.05. She's not going to be mapped in this race because she's not going to get to the front at any point. You could put her in 33 to 1 if you think that's her best running. Cold as Ice in 4 is a remarkably good start. That was one of the most exciting staying performances I've seen in years at Newcastle the last day against 2 good Jimmy Wright bitches. I mean, Cold as Ice did everything wrong, and he just hit the 5th bend and hit another gear. It was sensational. Zach's Tornado was extremely impressive last week. I think she was the first open race winner for Bruiser's Bullet, which is obviously good to see. Bruiser's Bullet, who ran and won the Toaster Derby finals, and the Derby was here 3 years ago. So it's nice to see progeny from Dogs Den coming full circle for the new reincarnation of Toaster. Badminton Connor's been running well in greater races, but again, we're talking about Jaguar Macy here, Northern Puppy Derby winner, Monmore Puppy Derby winner. If she starts, 1 to 3 is too big, but it's not a race I'll be betting in. I'll be interested to see how she runs the place. Hopefully she runs a little bit better. If I was Graham Rankin, I probably would have given her another look at Toaster before the Derby. Maybe there just wasn't a slot available, but she hasn't ran it remarkably well in the past. So instead of letting one more trial, I think I would have jumped in the van and given her a bit of pre-Derby experience again.
Bomber, what do you think?
Yeah, look, it looks to be a match race between Top and Cold as Ice, to be honest with you. Look, he was unbelievable in Newcastle in his last couple of races. He broke the track record for the 6th bend there, and his last race when he came from behind Coolivani Banny, he came from the next parish to win. As Dylan said, it's one of them. I'm not a huge fan of 6th bend racing, but I tell you, it was an exciting race to watch when you replay. He's just an absolute machine. But saying that, I know Jaguar Macy has never really ran the track, to be fair. But at the same time, I just think, she gets in front, he's going to have to do a lot right for him to get after it. Like, I'm not a massive fan of dogs from 6 bends coming back, especially in a track like Toaster, that it's it's not easy to pass, and I couldn't see him coming from that far behind Toaster. Now he is the type of dog that would do it, but if Jaguar Macy can just get out in front, and she'd do 29.40 from the front, maybe better, or maybe being even harsh saying to only 29.40, but I just take a chance with her. It just depends on prices. I think he'll be too short for what he should be. Now saying that, there's not a lot of obstacles from ready to pass in the race. Babin the Connor, I used to own him. He's a lovely dog, big trap six dog, but at the same time, he runs. He's a graded dog. He's a top graded dog in Toaster. He's A2 in Toaster. He won well the last day, but at the same time, I never saw him as a Derby class dog. I thought if he got the right heat, he'd have a chance maybe at a big price, but not in this race. There's just two classy animals in this race. I'll go for Jaguar Macy anyway. Just the fact she has the form over the 4 bends. Well, cold as ice for me. 6 bend dog. I'll try and take him on. I just think, dog, as I said earlier, I think these dogs can get overhyped and they can be a lot shorter than they should be. So I'll go for Jaguar Macy in this race anyway.
Cheers, Bomber. Dog guesser, what do you think?
I hate the race, to be honest. Macy's never really run the place at all, to be honest. Seems very strange that, like you guys have said, they're just gone to Munmore rather than booking in at Toaster and giving her a proper look at the place in a solo. Cold as ice, got detached in a 6 bend race. I don't see how it turns handy enough to come and pick up something like Jaguar Macy. I wouldn't have Jaguar Macy necessarily wanting the bang on the fence either. Look, it's a race I don't like. The one's going to be short. It's probably a race I'll be just happy enough having a pint and chilling out and watching it on the screens, because it's not one for me, that, to be honest. But the one probably should win, all being well, and it goes around the bend. But yeah, just lack of recent luck and everything else, that would be my big concerns of it.
Cheers, Dog Guesser. Let's move on to the next heat. We've got Coney Wonderland in 1, Dearjet Sydney in 2, Douala Prince in 3 for Mr. Craig Day, otherwise known as Dog Guesser, Bocco's Melody in 4, Roadstone Bill in 5, and in 6, Deanridge Smidge. Well, with a runner in the race, I've got to come to you first, Dog Guesser. What do you think?
I think he's massively overpriced at 25s. I might be being a bit biased, but I've had a little bit of the 25s. The 1 and 2 are certain to hit each other. How they've got away with seeding the 1 as a railer, I'll never know. The red moved off from 2 and 3 at Nottingham. So if they both come out level, the 1 and the 2 are just going to smash each other. I'm hoping if Prince comes away sort of semi-level and he can just get across them. The 4's going to push off a little bit from 4. The 5 and 6 have got nothing on the card really to suggest that the sort of in front of him in the betting. He's made a Category 1 final in Ireland. I'm not saying he is a Category 1 dog, because he's not. That'd be talking rubbish. But he has done it from bad draws in the past. He's never really had his box. It would be a desperate railer, but I think with the 1 and the 2 hitting, I think he might be able to get across. And I think 25 is just too big for him. Like I say, I'm a bit biased, but the 4's drawn as well. But I'd be sort of betting around Sid, and well, I've already bet Prince anyway. I think he's too big at 25.
Well, hopefully he wins and hopefully he qualifies for your Dog Guesser. Bomber, what are your thoughts?
Yeah,
Me, is it?
Yeah, it's you.
Yeah, sorry, I couldn't hear it off there. Yeah, look, it's the English Derby winners coming to defend his title in Toaster. Dearjet Sydney, he's in Trap 2. He won the Derby from Trap 2 in Nottingham. He's in a new track now. Look, we all know Dearjet Sydney. He wants Trap 0. Like, he just absolutely dives the fence. Like, honestly, I think if there was a fence, he'd run out and he'd probably run around the grass. Like, he's just... I've never seen a dog so mad for. I think him and Bacchus John Joe are the 2 biggest railers I've seen in the last few years. They're just absolutely. He doesn't even attempt to go straight. He just goes left. He's a dangerous dog for any dog that's on his inside. Honestly, if when draws come out and you get trap 1 or trap 2. You just don't want Dearjet Sydney on your outside, because your Derby, it's most likely over at that stage. Like, to be honest with you, he could. To be fair to him, I probably have thought he would cause a lot more trouble for himself in his races than he has. He got away with it, Nottingham, from draws, to be honest with you, because he's keeping coming out of the box. So if he keeps trapping Dearjet Sydney and he gets on the fence, when the way he can rail, he could just do some serious runs around Toaster. He was quite impressive in the select stakes, to be fair, in the early rounds. Scar Kabari claimed him, just got ahead of him in the final and beat him fair and square. But look, he's the English Derby winner. He's a classy animal. It's hard to go against him. Look, I wish Doghouse the best luck with Duella Prince, to be fair. He's actually always been a very fast dog. He's just never done it in the top grade, which is understandable if you look at the dogs he's ran with, like top AAO Sean Park Saturday night dogs in the big competitions. But when he's got that ease and grade in the likes of Macau, McCup and Kilkenny, he was able to do low 29-second runs, which, if you watch the unrace stake the last few weeks, it's as good as a run you can really do around there. Look, he's of a class. He's trialled very well. He bet Chipping Away in that trial. I thought it was a good, Chipping Away is a fast dog. He beat him fair and square. Look, I think he's a great chance of qualifying from this heat. It's hard to take Dearjet Sydney on. Like, he's the English Derby winner. I think he's a good draw. So I know one moves off, but I just think Dearjet Sydney could just push him out of the way, like he has done to better dogs. Do you know what I mean? Like, he's got across the likes of Southwood Jet. I just don't think Coney Wonderland's going to be a massive problem for Dearjet Sydney, to be honest with you. You have to go for Dearjet Sydney. Bocco's Melody's a very fast bitch as well. She's won the Ballymac Razzles. She's just a bit inconsistent. She can do big runs and never seems to put them together. But look, she's a very fast bitch as well. She'd have a good chance of qualifying. But look, Dearjet Sydney is the English Derby winner. You have to go for him. But I wish Doghouse the best luck. Hopefully he qualifies from. Go for your rounds.
Fitzy, what do you think?
I want to be with 4 here, if she's any sort of a price. I think 1, similar to Craig, should be accepted as a railer. It's as simple as that. It's one of the biggest issues in open racing at the minute. It's a big issue in greater racing as well, obviously. You can't keep accepting middle runners, because when they get trap 1, has potential to ruin a race, If this was a run-of-the-mill open, you own Dearjet Sydney, you quite simply wouldn't turn up now. He's always going to have a bad draw, but you don't mind being a tight railer and having a railer inside you. It's when you're a tight railer and you have a dog that wants to be way out on your right-hand side inside you that it's just no crack at all now if you're putting him in the box. Dula Prince and Trees, an extremely fast dog, obviously. Our pal Craig owns him. He's been delighted with his trials for obvious reasons. I remember when he messaged me a few weeks ago and said, actually, get this dog for a crack at the Derby. I just said to him, if you can get trap 1 in the maiden before the Derby's not enough money in the world you can have on him somewhere. A track like Toaster or Donny or somewhere, if anywhere, to put on a maiden. But you might need to park that plan for after the Derby. Obviously, I'd like to see him win a Heedle Derby then. He wouldn't have the luxury of trying to win a maiden, but it's probably a big ask in this race, even though he is drawn. I just think 1's moving off, 2 and 3 are as tight a railer as there is in the competition. 5 and 6 are nowhere near the class from what I've seen. So just leaves Bocco's Melody. She's a very classy bitch out of the now famed Ballymac Razzle line. She's been trialling well of late. Her last trial was a real improvement. She's not around for a while, but she'll be coming in fresh enough. So if she starts level, you're just going to see the domino effect inside her. 1, 2, 3, all just going opposite ways. And she could just be gone, gun barrel straight up the middle, race over. She led around the bend. I think Dearjet Sydney's possibly changed his running style a bit in Waterford. He was coming from behind, good dogs. He was really racing into the 3rd and 4th bend. When he was a pup, he was sort of flat out for 400 yards, and that was him cooked. I think he'll really enjoy Toaster. If he can just get onto the fence and get in front one night, he'll put up a massive run. His trial was exceptional for a dog that had been off the track for a while. Just didn't time his break right. And, while it is a railless track still, Toaster, it isn't the easiest track for a dog that likes to be under the rails like him. It can just get a bit hard to navigate the bends. It can be a bit sharp. So he's certainly well primed for his Derby defence. I can see him going very deep into this competition, but I'll bang against him in this heat from a treacherous draw.
Cheers, Fitzy. Let's move on to the next heat. We've got Native Maestro in 1, Ballymac Wisdom in 2, Killara Lion in 3, Say You Say Me in 4, Optic Symphony in 5, and in 6, Unlock. Fitzy, what do you fancy?
I think Native Maestro will win. I think it's as simple as that. What will follow him home is anyone's guess. Probably 2-3. It's big ask Unlock after having a litter of droopy Sydneys to come back, or having a litter of Pastanas even, to come back onto the track without a race for 7.5 months. You know, you can put a big price beside her name. 4 is massively outgraded. Ballymac Wisdom trialled exceptionally well the last day. I give her a good chance of qualifying here. She can just drop onto the fence behind Maestro and navigate a path through to third. The Optic Symphony dog was really impressive in Newcastle in his maiden, his puppy race for Gary Carmichael. Same connections as Little Emer. Obviously, they think a lot of the dog if they bring them down with Little Emer, and he is liable to cause a few shakes now. You know, he's certain to have it his own way out wide because Unlock doesn't go to the bend at all. So, you know, maybe they'll fancy their chance of qualifying from this race. You know, if they turn second to Native Maestro, they have every chance. Killara Lion's a different dog when he's led. Ballymac Wisdom will be behind early. She's obviously a stayer in a 550 race. So, look, I thought Native Maestro's been gifted a race to just trap like he did in the trial stake, stick up a 29.30 again, and he'll just throw his hat further and further into the ring for Derby honours. Again, here I don't think he'll do his reputation any harm at all off any semblance of a level start.
Bomber, what do you think?
Dylan pretty much said it all. Look, Native Maestro, all in for me. Just think he's got the class, to be fair, over this field, especially over 4 bends. He came out in the trial stake. I was watching to see how he came out of trap 1. No issue. Good split. Good overall time. It was simple as that. It was just done and dusted. He's in the right hands. He's going to be one of the major players in this year's Derby. I fancy him for the right reasons. He won 7 on the bounce in Ireland last year. You know, it's not easy to win 7 in a row in any grade, never mind open class. He was favoured to win the juvenile, the Kingdom Derby in Tralee. He got bet by Knockneville Sid in the final. There's no disgrace in that. But look, I just think you have to be all over him for this race. Ballymac Wisdom, she won 3 or 4 rounds in Shelburne Park for 750. She did a huge run in the first round of the 570 stake to Cleekle down in Memorial, and she just kind of went off boil a bit after. She kind of had 4 or 5 massive runs together. She obviously had just taken a lot out of her, but she's come back now, as Dylan said. She trialled very well. She's going to be hard to knock out if she gets a clean run. Unlock. Look, it's a big ask. Dylan said she's had a litter of pups. Personally, for me, I'm not trying to run the bitch down, but I even think when she was in her prime in the when she was running the 550 in Shelburne and Derby last year, you know, I think she was one of them. She showed more pace than she was actually, you know, she's shown mass pacing behind, but I never thought she was ever going to get there. I always said to Dylan and the lads, like, between herself and her sister, her and her sister Kulavani Chick, I pick Kulavani Chick 9 times, like every day of the week, just because she's lead and she's able to probably do, you know, a similar type of run, probably quicker. She's just never been the same bitch for me after Newbridge when she did a huge run, her first 2 runs. And I'm not trying to be harsh to bitch because she was a superstar and she's out of Tom's light, but I just think even if she was at her prime, you know, she just couldn't beat Native Maestro, not in Toaster anyway. So look, it's all in on Native Maestro for me.
Dog Guesser, are you looking to take on Native Maestro?
No, not at all. Just impossible to see it getting beat. You know, Maestro would have to do something, you know, really silly at the boxes maybe, or something silly at the bend. That's the only way I can see Native Maestro getting beat. Killara Lion isn't the same dog when he's off the skin. I don't think the 4 or the 5 will be either. I'd be looking at maybe playing sort of 1 to beat 2, 1 to beat 6. The bloke who came over for Matthews on for the trial. They were delighted with how she trialled. Obviously, I know it's a very different game going into a 6-bend race after such a long time off, but they said she'd had absolutely nothing done with her. So you'd imagine that they'd probably worked her a little bit more at home. But yeah, I'd be looking to sort of cast the 1, 2, and 6, and just hope that the 1 does get on skin, and that'd lead to 3, 4, and 5 chances. Not knocking the Calora Lion dog at all, because he's, a very fast dog, but he's a dog that I know he's won comp and stuff, but I don't see him winning a derby or going, massively deep in a derby. But he is a really, really decent dog, but he's sort of round pace rather than does anything exceptional. But I just think the 2 will pitch in behind the 1, and I think the 6 can get a run out wide, and I'd be sort of trying to cast 1, 1, 2, 1, 6.
So it's casts for Dog Guesser. Let's move on to the next heat. We've got Boyle Sports Bingo in 1, Night Tornado in 2, Tramwell Stallion in 3, Highlight Arkle in 4, Pilgrim Hill in 5, and Jaguar Fury in 6. Fitzy, what do you fancy?
It's not a race I have a strong opinion on. I think there's 3 main dogs in the heat, and they'll all qualify quite handily. Highlight Arkle, Night Tornado, Boyle Sports Bingo. I think Boyle Sports Bingo probably isn't the best dog for Night Tornado in here. He's a very trappy dog. He's a bit devoid then for 2 bends, and then he really flies home. When he puts his head down, he can catch anything. He's a real forecast, try-cast kind of dog. That's always the sort of angle you have to look at with him. Whether it'll be worth the juice in this race, another question. He's liable to be shorter than he probably should be. But if there's one dog that last week's abandoned meeting is going to affect more than any, it'll be Night Tornado, in my opinion. He's only had the 1 race in 8 months. He could have really done with a lung opener last week. Just get him going again. Get him back. Just race sharp. So I suppose that means Highlight Arkle should really win this race off any sort of a start. If Night Tornado lands in behind him, having not ran for a few months, I'd expect him to challenge him at some stage, but probably fold near the line. I think Night Tornado is an awful lot stronger than Highlight Arkle is over 500 meters. Just he's going to be very short of a race, you'd like to think. So you could even play Night Tornado not to be in the front 2 here. I think he's liable to qualify in 3rd. Maybe the 4-1 forecast. I don't think you're going to get paid the world for it, but that might be an angle into the race. Just if Night Tornado challenges at the 3rd, doesn't get by, he might just tie up a bit for lack of race fitness. Bingo won't need a second invitation to run by him.
Bomber, what do you think?
Yeah, Night Tornado is an exceptionally fast greyhound. Personally, I think he's the fastest greyhound in Ireland. Down the back straight from 2 to 3. In Shelbourne Park, he is the fastest greyhound from 2 to 3. He's just a machine. I have a couple of concerns about him, to be honest with you. I don't personally think he's going to suit Toaster. It's purely why I didn't go for him in the anti-post picks, because there's just not enough back straight for him to do his damage. He is very good into the bend. He's not exceptional now. He wouldn't have the early pace for me if Highlight Arkle into a bend. Not even near it, to be honest with you. But in his races in Ireland, he's just an absolute monster in the back straight. Like, I mean, a freak. Like, for anyone that does the clocks, I just say it's just off the charts. Like, I know from he gallops where we gallop our dogs, and he when we're starting off in the school and track, his back straight, his hand slipped in the back straight as a pup was just off the charts, and his clock's up a straight gallop over 12 and 13 seconds. It's just like, you can't even believe that the dog can do it. I've seen some serious top dogs go up the gallop, coursing dogs, track dogs, and nothing can get near Night Tornado. He's just that quick. I just can't see how that would transpire to Toaster with the bends and no straights for me. Look, he's exceptionally fast dog. He needs runs. That's the other thing as well. He's only had 1 race in the Easter Cup since the Juvenile Derby final. It's not ideal. Like, you'd be delighted even just to finish in you take 3rd place now with Night Tornado if you could. He just needs a few runs. I hope he proves me wrong about the track, but I just don't know if it's going to play to his strengths. But I'm kind of just hoping to see him back in Shelburne Park in one piece, to be honest with you, in fight for the fight later on. But look, Night Tornado, if he puts it all together, he's as quick as anything. Look, highlight article for me. I just pick him in this race. New in session couldn't pick him up last week. I just couldn't see how Night Tornado would beat him either, to be honest with you, especially without a couple of runs as well. I think he should just be away and gone and do his own business. The clock doesn't really matter to me. Once he's out in front, New in session, every chance to beat him last week and he couldn't. So, he's doing everything right, to be fair. Highlight Arkle. Ball Sports Bingo for me. He's the dog for me that makes no sense. He was in the Puppy Derby final the year before. I think he was second to Score. What's the dog was second to Dylan? I can't actually remember now. He was second to the Puppy Derby anyway, where they come for cakes, and Paul Strambano. That's right. And he was second to Broad Strambano, and he ran as an A2 dog Kenny for nearly a year, an A2 and A3 dog, and you just go like, sure, he's just obviously just something wrong with the dog. He's just not the same dog as he was. And then he comes back at the start of this year and he gets to the Gold Cup final over 5 and he gets to the Easter Cup final over 550. So like, he just makes no sense for me. He's a bit of a character, obviously, but he's an exceptionally fast dog. You just don't know what he's going to do, as Dylan says. He can wing the boxes and then doesn't go to the bend, and then he can fly home, and then there's nights he doesn't stay. He's a bit of a head wreck. Honestly, he just makes no sense to me. You can never trust him. But look, I'll go for Highlight Arkle in this heat. I've gone on for a bit now, so I'll go for Highlight Arkle anyway.
I never noticed.
There's too much to say. Hey, Davey.
We have to get that internet usage in, don't we? Dog gets
all that peddling has to be put to good use.
You'll be splitting this one into 3 videos.
Might have to be 4
now at this stage.
Dog guesser, what do you think, mate?
I was with Night Tornado but it's a bit of concern it's not run for such a long time. We've actually laid a decent size bet in the shops today. We've laid a 600 quid at 30 freeze. It's just a bit of a race I'm not mad keen on. The 4 is going to lead. The 2 turn second. Will it be race fit enough to get it? Not 100% sure, but I think the 3 qualifiers will be 4, 2, and 1, and that'll be that. It's not a race. The prices are going to be right this race anyway. It's going to be priced up as a complete match between 4 and 2, with 1 third in, and the rest can be pretty much any price you want. So it's not going to be priced incorrectly. So yeah, no real opinion here.
Well, thanks, Dog Guesser. Well, let's move on to the next one. We've got Gerano Jets in 1, Palace Mystery in 2, Betty's Book in 3, Ferndale Nidge in 4, and in 6, Glenlara Mac. Fitzy, what do you fancy?
It's not a heat I'm a fan of. I think it's a bad heat. Potentially one of the worst of the 32. Obviously, being a fight dog heat doesn't help, but Glenlara Mac, he just jacked it in at the bend last week. Dog got up to the inside and he just slammed on the brakes. So how he's joint favourite, I have no idea. There was a massive question mark put beside. I'd never seen him do it in Ireland, so I have no idea why he done it last week, but I can't have him on my mind after that. If Betty's Book half traps like she was when she was racking up the sequence at Nottingham, this is a dial of distance. She can do 29, 40 or 50 around here. Whether the 6 bend runs might have taken the edge off her is anyone's guess. But look, if she starts, in my opinion, she should be a middle seed, so trap 3 should be perfect with 4 moving off. If Betty's Book starts, it's race over. And even if she doesn't start, she's liable to pick these up. It's this is a race with a few graders in it. Realistically, the dog that has a bit of class in it as well, aside from Betty's Book's Glenlara Mac, and based off his 3 runs at Newcastle, he's certainly not improved for leaving Ireland. He's regressing, so it's not a heat I'll be paying too much heat to now. I don't think any of these will be going too deep in the derby.
Bomber, what do you think?
Yeah, I'll keep this one short and sweet for you, Davey. Look, I agree, Dylan. Betty's Book for me. She's the classiest animal in this race, to be honest with you. I think she can lead or she can come from behind this race. It's just there's not much depth to this race and to 5 dog heat as well. Look, the top is a very fast dog in Ireland, to be fair. He did 28.17 in Cork. I love the 15.88 sprint trial in Sheffield on his card. He went back then, maybe slower tracks. He bet similar dogs, similar distances. 4.19 sectional in Toaster, to be fair to him as well. If he's a decent price, you can have a few quid, have a few quid in them. But for me, it's not one to bet. It's just, if you won now, if I was with Dylan, I'd be in the bar. I wouldn't be coming out maybe for this one. But yeah, look, Betty's book for me for Kevin Boone. Interested to see how she runs. She did some fast runs in Nottingham at the start of the year, and that's so. Yeah, I'll go for Betty's book in this one here.
I think I'd be in the bar having a few blue wickets as well, mate. Dog guesser, what do you think?
Yeah, I'd take a chance with the 1. I think it's a very poor heat, like Dylan said about the 6. Just doesn't want to know at times. The only thing I would say about the 1, the trial isn't great round Toaster, but it could come on for that look. It could find 20, 30 spots, say, and I think that'll be plenty, to be honest. Betty's book. I'm not a big fan of how Kevin campaigns his dogs. I think he runs the legs off them a little bit. They seem to be entered like sort of Monday, Friday, Monday. Just keep running. So yeah, I'd be with the 1. I think he's probably had a bit of a rush campaign coming over from Ireland, quite late, probably early May. And it's probably been a rush campaign like it has with our lads, to be honest. And you're trying to get like qualifying trials into them, 3-dog qualifying trials. So it might come on a little bit from the first round, but yeah, I'd take a chance with the 1. I think it's a very, very poor heat.
So Dog guesser's taking a chance with a 1. Next heat, we have got Kamiko in 1, The Machine in 2, Ballymac Fair 1 in 3, Million Wink in 5, and in 6, Corin Alfie. Fitzy, what do you fancy?
Again, not a heat. I'll probably strike it bet. Definitely not in the win market anyway. You're talking about a dog in the machine who's won, I think, 1 race, is it, in 12 or 14 goes maybe, and that was his debut. You're being asked to take 2 zip about him. That's a pass for me anyway. He's one of the quickest dogs in training. He's a dog I was going to try and bet to make the final, but I think his ability to chase down dogs has been factored in way over the odds to his price. So you can bet 33 anti-post quarter the odds, 8-1 for your place money, or you can bet 9-2 to make the final. I'd rather take my chance that he'd go buy a dog in the final. You got to cut at them, so I've ended up just leaving it. 1's a bogey early for him. I mean, he's going to be behind them anyway, but Kameko doesn't want trap 1. He's a dog I was hoping to draw a soft heat in the first round. You could just keep betting him. I know he's beat 5.5 lengths in the start of Toaster, but he actually showed a lot of pace after stumbling at the start. Ballymac Fair will probably lead up the middle here. 5's outgraded, 6 is probably outgraded, although 6 ran very well behind 10 pin at Central. One of the lads I know is involved in him. I'd love to see him qualify for him. He probably has a chance if he stays out wide and he's a strong runner. Could get messy inside. 1 and 3 would be the strongest. The Machines 1 to 50 to qualify. He's 1 to 2 to win. I wouldn't be surprised if the Machines in 10 to 11 poking the Machine. There's going to be plenty of people out play him. He's not a prolific winner. He's an absolute monster of a dog from the 3rd bend home. It's scarcely believable what he was doing to 28-10 dogs in Limerick. But again, just another watching brief. Maybe I'll play 2 to beat 6 in small forecasts, but it's not a race I'll get too heavily financially involved in.
Bomber, what do you think?
Yeah, look, the Machine's obviously the one that sticks out here. He's been heavily backed in the anti-post market. He's only beaten a couple strides in the Kirby. Look, Dylan says his win record is very poor, but his engine is off the charts. He's just an absolute monster. In the Puppy Derby Foster as well, he has form around the track. Now it has changed the boxes, but for me, it doesn't make a difference. It doesn't make a difference to him. He just does his own thing anyway. He can come from next parish. He can catch anything. But Dylan says he rarely gets up. Now, there was a bit of a question mark about him in the early rounds of the Kirby, but after the night it happened, he just went on about his business and he nearly won the Kirby. So, look, he's an absolute machine of a dog. He's a half brother to Antigua Fire. He's going to be nearly impossible to knock out bar he gets knocked over, to be honest with you, for me as well. Look, Ballymac Fair One's exceptionally fast dog as well. He's some seriously fast sprint trials, 5-5 trials. Just for me, he's never run in top company before in terms of grade. Now I think he could get away with a bit in this heat, but this dog is well capable of a big run. There's no doubt about that. Like he's very fast. He was supposed to trial with the other Ballymac dogs the first day, but then obviously the hair broke down. He's a one look. He trialed decently well, to be fair. Look, he's a fast dog. I expect him to lead in this race, but would I trust him to stay in front of the machine? I don't know. I just can't back the machine. I can't back again. It's just a race for watching, to be honest with you. Kameko, very nice dog in Shelburne Park Saturday night. I don't think he's not the top grade, but he, as Dylan said, I was hoping he'd get the right heat. If he was in the last heat, you'd be going all in on him. But yeah, look, I'll go for Ballymac Fair One. You know, that as an outsider, because the machine, I'll take the machine's win rate on. But look, it's not 100% confident. But yeah, look, Ballymac Fair One for me.
Doug Gesser, what do you think?
I'm not as big on the sort of D machine train, to be honest. I watched him trial at I don't think Toaster's going to be like his sort of track. There's not a massive back straight there. It's very, very difficult to pass around the third and the fourth. I don't with him. I don't see him being a sort of 20. I know he's going to be hard to knock out of the Derby, but I don't see him being a sort of 28, 25 spoke for the Derby in places. I'd definitely be happy enough taking him on, especially in the win markets as well. I'd be with Ballymac Fair One. Certainty to lead. Not sure I'll get home, but it's got some very good trials on the card, and it's got a win there in a sort of a much lesser grade. But this is a massive step up in class. But Liam obviously thinks plenty of it to bring it over Derby. So yeah, I'd be with Fair One, but yeah, I'm not as mad keen on the D machine as everybody else.
So Doug Gesser is with Ballymac Fair One. The next heat, we've got 10 pin in 1, Amazing Wink in 2, Maximum Security in 3, Warzone Tom in 4, Adele's Duke in 5, and in 6, Burgess Vivato. Fitzy, what do you fancy?
Look, there's nothing aside from the obvious here. If 10 pin starts level, 10 pin wins. 10 pin misses the break, 10 pin probably wins. He's just a cut above these. He's still an exceptionally quick dog when he's drawn right. The only play I could see myself having here is a top 3 market, just betting Amazing Wink. He's just bomb proof, Laurels finalist, Maiden Derby finalist, Gold Cup or Winter Derby finalist at Monmore. He's just going to drop in on behind 10 pin and he'll just pass beating dogs. He's just exceptionally quick from the third bend home. He's taking a liking to Toaster. I think 10 pin wins. I think Amazing Wink are probably third behind him and Warzone Tom. Although I wouldn't put it past him being second. He's too big in the place market. I'll bet him there. But again, I didn't think the back end of Saturday night's card is too inspiring from a punting perspective. From a watching perspective, there's plenty of top dogs. So I'll just keep this as a watching brief for as much as possible, I'd say.
Bomber, what do you think, mate?
Yeah, look, 10 pin is definitely up there, top English dogs. I'm not trying to be an after-timer, but I actually thought Warzone Tom ran unbelievable the night before he broke the track record. I just thought he's massive pace. And he came out and he did a huge run. Now, I didn't expect him to do that sectional, to be able to do that run, but look, he's a very fast dog. Warzone Tom, he broke the track record. It's a stupid statement to say, but he's just a very fast dog. I'm willing to take 10 pin on any night of the week. This dog could give you directions. He's run nearly in every different track for some reason. The last couple of weeks, he's just done the open scene. He's run Central Park, Hove, Newcastle trials, and I don't know why he's been doing that because the Derby's in Toaster, and he's just run every different track for some reason. I didn't think he ran amazingly in Central Park the last night. Time was decent enough. Chase and Turkey got quite close to him in that as well. So, look, I just think if Warzone Tom repeats near the run he did, 10 pin's going to have to go win the heat, and I'm quite happy to take 10 pin on because he's going to go off very short. Warzone Tom, he probably would be a bigger price than he should be, as lads just think the track records to be constantly broken. But Amazing wink, as Dylan said, very good CV. He's just not coming out of the box in Toaster. He's walking out 4:30, 4:40 sectionals. He can't do it and get involved in this race for me. So look, I'm gonna go for Warzone Tom. I'll take on 10 pin. But look, these are probably two of the UK's biggest hopes in 10 pin and Warzone Tom. So it'll be interesting to see how they go head to head.
Cheers, Bomber. Dog guesser, will 10 pin strike on Saturday night?
Oh God, what is going on here? It's too late in the day for this, Davey. I'm and 10pin's another dog that I'm not as
You're not
big on
bowled,
as everybody
you're
else.
not bowled over, are you?
I'm going to leave the Zoom call if this carries on.
Fuck's sake.
This is getting real bad now. I'm just. There's a lot of people in the media that love 10pin, and it's a very fast dog when it's drawn right. And here it's drawn right, and we'll probably win and probably do a clock, and then be bet like it's the second coming of Jesus to go and win the derby when it's just absolutely not. Like Bombers pointed out, they're chasing turkeys a length and a quarter behind it. Like I don't see it in the dog at all, and I'm trying to know. Jesus, I'd love to own it, like but I just don't see where it's sort of under 50s to win a derby. I don't grasp it. It's so draw dependent. I wouldn't really want to take it on here because I think it wins, but I just think it's a dog that's massively overhyped. And if this offends anybody, then go and swivel. Yeah, I'm not really that bothered, but yeah, I don't want to knock the dog because that's that's what I'm trying to do. But I just think it's massively overhyped, and there's far too many people on the 10pin training. Probably win here and probably do 28.90 or something and make me look an absolute idiot as per usual. But yeah, I won't be taking it on here. I think it wins. But yeah, for the derby, it's not a dog I'm massively keen on. I'll be top price at Betfred anyway.
Cheers, Dog guesser. Right, let's move on to the final heat. We've got Save Me Paddy in 1, Rope Walk Boy in 2, Angry Dad in 3, Fawn Rebel in 4, Pinpoint Villa in 5, and in 6, Hello Hammond. Fitzy, what do you fancy?
Not from a win bet perspective, but Rope Walk Boy has been very kind to a good few of us now in forecast and tricast the past year in Shelburne, especially throughout the derby. He was absolutely flying for Liam O'Rourke and the syndicate of lads that owned him. Now the Hungarian boys syndicate owned him, bought him for a run in the derby, sent him over to Nathan Hunt there. Obviously, Rich has been keeping us in contact about it. They're all extremely excited about having a runner at Toaster, so it'll be great to see him go a few rounds. And looking, there's two dogs in this race I think can actually go quite deep in this derby, and Rope Walk Boy and Hello Hammond. They're both similar sort of profiles. They catch pigeons, whatever's in front of them, they'll go twice the speed of them until they get there. Rope Walk Boy was running past some seriously quick dogs last year. Like the marks on his card in the summer are ridiculous. He was just in brilliant form. Like before lockdown, he sort of, you wouldn't have thought you thought he would make a good Friday night dog. Good, the grade's a little bit weak on a Friday. But they thought, yeah, he might rock up on A2s and A1s every week and he'll win his fair share of races. But whatever, lockdown it just transformed him, turned into a seriously open class dog now. He was competing. I think he made the quarterfinal at Derby. He was unlucky to be knocked out. He was passing good dogs like they'd been shot at the third bend. And I think it'd be the exact same here. Red will be gone. 3 is very poor to the bend. 4 is not great to the bend. 5 is very hit and miss at the boxes. I was trying to make a case to bet 5 in the sectional market at 300 to 1. But just said I don't think he'll get a second chance. So you're taking 300s for one go. I pass at that. And Hello Hammond doesn't go to the corner, but he's been gifted a nice draw here. So look, you can pick your pick here. Whatever you think of front off, just play around that with Rope Walk Boy and Hello Hammond to be second, third, or even pick it up in first, second, third, maybe 2-1-6 reverse try, that sort of thing. You should get paid reasonably well because Rope Walk Boy should go off at decent enough price. Just from his win perspective, I thought he trialled extremely well the last day. He lost, he clocked 30 seconds. Look, that's a long way off Derby class, but from the second bend onwards, he was nigh on looking around, wondering why he was jogging around on his own. Like, I think when he's in with 6 dogs, just a completely different dog, screws his head on, he gets after them, and he's a very, very talented dog to go to war with in these sort of races.
Bomber, what do you think?
Yeah, look, my outsiders in this race, Hello Hammond. I went from he's 150 to 1 shot. To be honest with you, in this race, I would be backing him to finish just in the top 2. I just think you could get a serious price. He's going to be a huge price probably in the seat. Look, he's a machine. He ran in the Clonablaze stake as well. That's why I went from. He was probably 7 or 8 lengths behind halfway, and into the escape, he's ran by everything, you know. And then he ran the 600-yard stake with the likes of Great Name that and Beach Avenue, and he went toe to toe them down the back straight one night. So look, he's an exceptionally fast dog. I went from because I think he can just grab a couple of qualifying spots. Do I think he's going to come out and win the seat easy? No. You know, I just think he's dug first, second, or third every night. He'll do rightly. He'll probably improve a couple of runs from the track as well. I'll probably, if I was trying to tip someone this race, I'd probably tell him to back him either, you know, to win or come second. Fighting Rebel's a dog that I was always mad about. Just he's a bit of a character, but he's an absolute machine. Now he hasn't been doing the same clock since he came back from his injury, but before that he was just doing some ridiculously fast solo trials, and you know he can put it all together. Look, the top's massive early pace. He looks a certain lead, as Dylan said. He right at Newcastle. I'd be questioning how well he'd stay. If I thought Hello Hammond got close enough to him, I expect him to pick him up even around Toaster. And then look, Rope Walk Boy. Yeah, he's a part of a very fast litter. I'd have question marks about a couple of them. The litter, they stop and start, but they're exceptionally quick. Look, I wouldn't be mad about it, to be honest. I wouldn't go in back. And to be honest, Rope Walk, I've seen too much from to be fancying him. So look, I go for Hello Hammond at a big price, but it's interesting enough race to watch, to be honest with you.
Cheers, Bomber. Dog guesser, what do you think?
Yeah, this is the sort of race that I want to be betting sort of with, well, Paddy Power and Betfair if you can, which is nigh on impossible, to be fair. But I want to be back in the 2 and the 6 in the top 3 markets. That'd be the play. The 2 is very, very chasey. Like you say, the 1's going to be out of its way. The 6 is going to get some sort of a run out wide. If it does, I think it'll get there. I think the 6 will be my most likely winner of the race. But yeah, I'd want to play 1, 2, 6 always, or 2 and 6 in the first 3. I just think it's nigh impossible to keep 2 and 6 out of the first 3.
Cheers, Dog guesser.
As well.
Well, lads, as always, thanks for coming on the II preview show. It's been a great laugh as always.
Was it?
Well, cheers, pal.